views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Let me be your lighthouse so I can show you the way. Let me be your shining light, I'll keep you from drifting away. I'm the one that makes you try when...
Hello, this is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. Welcome to my show. We have a special guest on today. His name is Mayor Tom Henry of Fort Wayne City, Indiana. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Patty.
Oh, it's so good to see you. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
How long has it been since I interviewed you last?
Oh my goodness gracious.
That long. Okay.
Yes, that long.
Today we're going to talk about the mayor and what he does for Fort Wayne. Sir, where were you born and raised?
Well, actually, I was born in Indianapolis, even though our family's from Fort Wayne. My father was in graduate school in Indianapolis, and while he was there, I was born, and then we moved back eventually to Fort Wayne, and been here pretty much ever since. Our family's been in Fort Wayne about 150 years. It's a long time.
That's an old family.
Yes, it is.
So we hear you are from a large family.
Right.
How many are there?
Well, there were 17 children, 11 boys and 6 girls. And most of us still live in Fort Wayne. There's a couple of them who left the state. And then I lost a brother as a result of Vietnam. But all the rest of us are here. We lost Mom and Dad over the past several years. And,
I'm sorry.
And well, thank you. But when Mom left, she had 150 grandchildren and great-grandchildren, so the Henrys will be here for a while.
I can just see Christmas. So where did you go to school and what did you major in? And all
Well, I
that?
went to high school here in Fort Wayne, Central Catholic High School. Now, a lot of people probably don't remember good old CC, but we were downtown, right next to the cathedral church. It's our old school is now a parking lot, but when they built Bishop DeWinger and Bishop Luers, the need for a centrally located Catholic high school downtown pretty much diminished.
Oh, did they tore it down? Or?
Yeah, they tore it down and turned it into a parking lot. But I graduated from there in 1970, and then I went to the Army for a couple of years. And came back and went to the University of St. Francis for both my bachelor's and master's degrees.
Who influenced you as you were growing up?
Oh, probably my father more than anyone, and my mother. Outside influences, I had the fortune of having several very good teachers along the way, both in elementary school and in high school, who I think helped me stay on the straight and narrow. But I also was an avid reader, so there were individuals, Mahatma Gandhi, who I thought his philosophy of passive resistance I thought was very admirable at that time. Obviously, as a young man, John Kennedy, for we Catholic boys, he was one person we looked up to. So there were several people along the way that I think influenced my thinking, influenced my overall philosophy on life, but probably more than anybody, my parents.
I always loved Kennedy. President Kennedy. I was Roman Catholic before I became Lutheran, but that's okay. Still the same God. Okay, before becoming mayor of this fair city, Fort Wayne, What other jobs have you worked at?
Well, out of graduate school, Parkview Health hired me. At that time, they were a single hospital here in town on State and Randalia. Now they're a multi healthcare group of hospitals and facilities. But at that time, they were just a single hospital. They hired me out of graduate school to work in the field of healthcare. And I was with them for a number of years. Finally left and started at my own company. I had a healthcare consulting firm, and I also had an insurance agency that I owned, and ran that for a number of years, and then sold them when I became mayor.
I'm glad you're the mayor here.
Thank you.
Pardon me. What year were you first elected as mayor of this fair city?
I was elected in 2007 and took office in 2008. I was on city council from 1983 to 2003, and I lost my seat, and so I was off for 4 years, but then decided to run for mayor, and
By Jove, you won.
I won. So.
There you go. So how many terms have you served?
This is my 4th term as mayor. I served 5 terms on city council. This is my 4th term as mayor. So altogether, when I finish this
9.
term, it'll be 36 years.
36? Ooh.
Yeah. Quite a few years.
Will you be running for office again?
Oh, I rather doubt it at this time. 36 years, it's a long time in public service. You never say never, because we don't know what the future holds. But as it sits right now, I would not have a problem passing the baton to somebody else.
Right on. So you've done a lot of great work for Fort Wayne.
Thank you.
Can you name but a few what you've been up to over the years of being mayor?
Well, the very first major project that I was involved in was the Martin Luther King Bridge. I was able to sit down with the engineers and the architects and my staff members and help put the design of that bridge together, and choose that we were going to light it up at night and so on. So that was my very first project, and I'm very proud of that. I think that that makes a real statement in our community.
I interviewed Dr. Vita King 7 or 8 times so far over the years.
I think that's a real strong statement of diversity in our community and inclusion. Also, the completion of Harrison Square. We had just finished the Ball Diamond as I became mayor, but then we added on the Marriott Hotel, we added on the Harrison, now we have the Hampton Inn right next to it. So I think as we developed that whole Harrison Square project, more and more buildings, restaurants, hospitality offerings, and so on, they began to really take shape in downtown Fort Wayne, and now we have, the new Bradley Hotel. We're getting the new home for Star Financial Bank. We have Promenade Park. So we still have quite a bit going on.
Promenade Park, well, that's where we're having our River Drums event this June 14th, 2022. That's a Tuesday evening from 5 to 10, hint, hint. Okay, let's go on beyond the commercial here. Okay. How about Legacy Fund? When was this put together and why?
It was put together probably in, I think it was around 2011, 10 or 11. We used to own our own electric company, Fort Wayne did. And a number of years ago, we had a mayor named Ivan Lebemoff, and our electric company at that time was beginning to show some signs of aging. So Michigan Power came to Fort Wayne and said, why don't you allow us to buy your electric company? It was called City Utilities Electric Company. It's where Science Central is. That was the home building for electric company. Ivan Lebemoff, the mayor, decided rather than sell it, he would lease it to them. And he did. This was back in the 1970s. And they signed a multi-year lease, which expired in about 2010 when I was mayor. Then we had the opportunity to buy or to keep that company, go back into the business, or sell it, or continue to lease it.
Right.
Well, I decided to continue to lease it to them. And that lease will expire, I believe, in 2025. But during this period, they pay us several $1 million a year to lease that electric company. All of that money goes into the legacy fund. And from that legacy fund, we pick projects. We have a committee that picks projects and decides to fund them because they'll have some kind of transformational effect on our community. So we've funded quite a few things over the years, and they continue to do that. Right now, there's probably about $30 or $35 million still left in that fund.
Well, you're my friend. Just kidding. Anyways, public safety, what did you commit to?
Well, we've made great strides in our whole public safety division. First of all, over the years, we've increased the number of police officers and firefighters significantly. But our city has grown, and we should have more men and women in the public safety division. But just as much as we've increased the number of individuals, we've also increased our technology. For instance, right now we have a series of drones that we didn't have before, and the drones have become very, very helpful in a number of areas.
Traffic?
Traffic is one. They let our traffic division know what's going on out there. Also, if there is a lost child, drones can cover huge areas where on foot it would take us a considerable amount of time. We can also assess a situation if there is a perpetrator in a building or they have hostages or whatever. Drones would help us assess that whole environment from the aerial view rather than trying to go around the perimeter on foot. So there's a lot of reasons why police officers or police departments use drones.
Yes.
That's one of the newer technologies that we have. And we also have all kinds of new equipment that we can use as far as fingerprinting and a number of other tools that our police department uses as far as trying to incorporate modern technology.
So do you have more police?
We have more police officers and firefighters because, again, our city has
It's
grown
growing,
significantly.
Yeah. Citizens services. What's that?
City services?
Yeah.
Well, we have a
Citizens?
311 call center.
Oh, yes.
And it's a program that we put together, again, when I became mayor. We had a part-time person in the mayor's office who would take calls and help direct citizens to various departments. And we decided to broaden that and deepen that as far as a service offering. So now we have 6 or 7 full-time people that take calls from our citizens with problems or concerns that they don't know where to go. So if you call with, let's just say, a problem with your neighbor's grass being too high, instead of trying to figure out who to call on that, you can call 311 and they'll direct you to the right department, or they'll take your complaint and they themselves will turn it in. And the whole idea is to become more responsive to citizens.
Yes.
But now we have a number of full-time people doing it.
911.
911, obviously, that's a call center that's terribly important to our community. They too have grown significantly. Now they're separate from the 311. 911 is for emergency calls only.
Right.
And they go into the police department, fire department, or the ambulance service. And we have a number of people that work full-time there and some part-time. But the whole idea is to have a number that people can call in case of emergency, and those call takers will contact emergency services for the caller or tell them who to get hold of.
That's good. I'm glad we have that.
Mhm.
Looking after our own. What's it like working during the COVID-19?
COVID has been a real challenge
It
to our
is.
community and to all communities. You know, we first of all, the variants keep changing. We thought Delta was bad. Now we have Omicron, and we don't know what's going to happen next. Patty, I don't know where this is going to
We
end.
don't know.
Obviously, we talked to healthcare personnel, we talked to the Board of Health, we talked to State Department of Health, and the federal government, CDC and others, on a regular basis, trying to determine what the best step is to take next. I'm not sure where this is going to go because we're going to continue to have a number of people who, for one reason or another, decide not to get vaccinated. And if you're not vaccinated, you become very vulnerable to getting COVID. If you're vaccinating to get COVID, your probability of getting through it safely is much, much higher than if you're not vaccinated. 90% of the people who are in the hospital now are people who have not been vaccinated. And the vast majority of them who die, unfortunately, died because they had no defenses built up through vaccination. Now that's again a discussion that can be had philosophically and
Going on and on,
politically
trying
and
to
so
do-
on.
yeah.
But it has presented a real problem because I have some employees who refuse to get vaccinated. I cannot mandate it. The state doesn't allow me to mandate my own employees. If I could, I would.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with a lot of other employers in the community.
Elderly people.
Some of them mandate, some of them don't. The most vulnerable in our community are the elderly and those who are compromised and children. Many children are now picking up COVID because they're not masked and their parents refuse to mask them for whatever reason. So we've got an ongoing challenge and I don't know where it's going to end.
I guess we have to have a booster every year, eh?
Well, I think eventually, now this is just me talking, I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
a physician, but my feeling is that that's where it's going to end up, that every year you'll be offered the ability to have a flu shot, and along with that, you can have a COVID shot too. I think that's where it's going to end up, but we'll see.
Well, hello to the audience. I just hope you all will be safe, and without COVID this year, may it be more peaceful. Last year, Promenade Park is such a success.
Promenade Park was an investment that we made in trying to embrace our rivers to make them more friendly. For years, as you know, we fought our rivers. We kept building levees and we kept building dikes and we kept trying to move the water away from us. Now what we've decided to do is to, as I said, embrace our rivers, make them part of our community. So one of the things that we did is we built a park along the river. It's designed so that during a heavy rain event, if water does get on it, that's okay. It'll get on it and then it will drain eventually. But the whole idea was to try to make our rivers a more attractive area for our citizens and for visitors, and it seems to be a success.
So, plans for the future, Fort Wayne.
Well, I think we're going to continue to invest in downtown Fort Wayne. It seems to have been a good investment so far. As I mentioned, we've been able to build quite a few new buildings and offer some new restaurant possibilities and some new theater offerings. I think that whole investment will continue because that seems to be an area where it has proven to be a point of destination for a lot of people. But at the same time, we're going to continue to grow our neighborhoods. We're investing millions of dollars in new sidewalks and curbs, street lights for our neighborhoods.
And the roads.
Trying to make sure that if you invest in a home in Fort Wayne, that the area that's around you from an infrastructure perspective is something that you can be proud of.
Finally. What would you like to share with my audience, encouraging them as this fair city of Fort Wayne grows?
More than anything, I think the city of Fort Wayne needs to develop even more pride in our city. You know, for a long time, people, I think, weren't necessarily proud to say they were from Fort Wayne, Indiana, because a lot of people didn't know where Fort Wayne was.
Now we know.
I think that we're trying harder and harder to make Fort Wayne a city that is recognized throughout the country. You know, Patty, we are the second largest city in Indiana. Everybody knows that. But what a lot of people don't know is that we are about the 85th largest city in the whole country. So we're a good-sized community. Most cities are much, much smaller than us. And I think we ought to take pride in that and take pride in the fact we have invested heavily in our community to make us, as I said earlier, a point of destination. And I think that it's happening, and we should be very proud of that.
Well, you know, I am glad you came on to my show, sir.
Patty, it's been a real pleasure.
I know. I thank you, sir, Mayor Tom Henry, for coming on to my show. And we'll see you hopefully next week with another guest. God bless. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Patty.
Godspeed, my love, until we meet again. You're always in my heart and every dream. Don't let this time apart give in to all our fears. God will keep us close from up above. So until we meet again, Godspeed, my love. God is with us always and for the rest of all our lives.
Hello, Patty Hunter here. I'd like to tell you about a book, a new children's book by a friend of mine, M.J. Jackson. It's called My Adventurous Day. And it's all about a boy named Joe who gets lost on his way to his grandfather's house. Joe finds himself being chased through the jungle by other various people and animals. And on the way, he discovers friendship and strength where he never thought it would be. You can get this book online on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Thank you.